Absolutely. So we've got with us Linnea Gabbard. Linnea is running for the LNC Region 7 representative position. We've got Michael Rufo. He's running for at-large with the red face because he just moved down to Florida not long ago. And then we have got Todd Hagopian, and a special thank you to Todd for letting us use his Twitter, Libertarian in Chief, to stream this out. Really appreciate it. Really glad you guys are here. Thank you.
What's going on? How the hell is everybody? $24,000. I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
No, listen, I don't see why this can't touch 30, and I'm kind of looking forward to everybody pushing it to 30, man. I really think that's what it's going to be. I mean, Todd, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're on pace for it, and I think we've got our big hitter coming up next. Not to take away from the big hitters run right now, but I think 30 is definitely reasonable.
And we've got all night, so.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of do the segment with you guys the same way that I did it with the earlier LNC candidates. You know, we got a half hour. There's three of you. I'm sure we can fill it. I'm going to kind of back out. But the nudge that I'll give you guys is, you know, what is your plans with the positions? What's your vision for the party moving forward? What kind of problems we kind of solving? You know, why are you running and who are you? I'll start with Linnea.
Yeah. So my name is Linnea Gabbard, and I am from Arkansas. I'm running for Region 7 rep, as Mike said. I essentially, the leadership position I have now is the at-large for, I do have for my county executive committee and also the state. So I've been doing a lot of representation to different districts and individuals for, you know, a few years now. I think one of the biggest reasons that the regional position appealed to me is because I feel like we need stronger feedback between up and down. Like there's so many things that people need at the local level that I don't know that they're receiving as much from, you know, the LNC. Like there's definitely a communication break. I want to strengthen that, and I also want to strengthen my region, you know, underneath that. That is my biggest reason, because I feel like sometimes with our regions, we have states who are being left behind. They're not on the level that other states in the region are. And I don't really feel like that is an acceptable way to continue if we want to populate all of the counties in each state.
Well, that's definitely an important point, because I think originally I was going to run for Region 8, right? But then I was like, yeah, I don't want to live in New Jersey anymore because it's a hellhole and it's a shithole. So I'm out. And but there's definitely a few states in Region 8 that kind of have that, like, hey, nobody really pays attention to us. What's going on? I mean, you can look at Vermont, for example, right? They're technically in Region 8, and it's kind of like they're kind of just floundering, right? They let Archie destroy the party. They let everybody ruin everything up there, and you got Olga doing an amazing job fixing everything that's going on in Vermont. But you know, it'd be nice to have the region reps doing things and getting more involved. Now, I know Rich is phenomenal. Rich Bowen, who's also running for at-large, and he's done a phenomenal job since taking the helm there. But prior to that, just think about it. Like the Region 8 rep was like part of like the collusion to ruin everything in New Hampshire, right? So that region rep thing for you to do that's the right reason in my view. So, but because I'm moved to Florida, I said, you know what, I can do at-large. Right. So for those that don't know, my name is Mike Rufo. I was a state board member in New Jersey for the last 5 years. And I was the South Jersey region rep. And then I was also the political affairs director for the last year and a half, which, you know, being in Jersey, not being able to get out and do things and talk to people and shake their hands, it made it a little bit more difficult. But nonetheless, it was what it was. And then I decided to move to Florida, but having been a regional rep and almost like an at-large rep, so to speak, in New Jersey, because it covered a third of the state, and people from all over the state would be reaching out to me, I figured, you know what, I can do at-large. You know, coming down to Florida, I know plenty of people down here in Region 2. There's definitely people all across the country that I've gotten to meet over the years as a delegate back in 2020. And to be able to represent the membership at large and be able to speak to anybody in the country and understand that, hey, I know that your area is different, but I can help you bring a level-headed decision-making process to this and help give you the information you need without being an asshole. right? And that's what I've always done best. So I was like, I can do this as an at-large rep, and that's why I want to run for at-large. For those of you that don't know me, you can ask almost anybody in New Jersey, except for maybe like the 4 people who are really upset about the fact that Mises swept through everything. You can pretty much ask about anybody, and even the people in Florida. Like, I'm coming to the game. I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm not going to pick fights with anybody, and I'm going to take the high road almost every single time. But you're going to know I don't agree with you when I don't agree with you. And just because we're all Mises doesn't mean we're all going to agree all the time. But I can promise you it's going to be a civil conversation if I don't agree. And that's the one thing that's going to make it a lot easier is when we have, reps like myself or Linnea or Todd here as the treasurer that have the ability to communicate with each other without saying, oh yeah, well, I found out that in 12th grade you did this. We're not going to play those games with each other because we're like, all right, dude, I don't agree with you. Maybe we can find a different way to get to the same end road. But Todd, what's up, man? Talk to everybody. Tell them why you're running for treasurer. Tell them why you're qualified. I heard a couple people say you're not qualified, which makes me wonder. I don't know how that's possible. From what I understand, like, you're a pretty big money guy. You're a good businessman. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on and why you should be treasurer?
Yeah, so I'll start with qualifications, just to throw that out there. So I was a financial advisor and a bank manager when I was very young. Decided to go and get a MBA in finance after that. And since then, I've been working in the Fortune 500 for the last 15 years in senior management positions within 3 companies, including running a $50+ million business in Ohio for Illinois Tool Works and a $60+ million business for Berkshire Hathaway. So I have managed large teams. I now own a small company that has grown to $5 million over the last 2 years that owns 3 different businesses underneath it. So I've managed big teams, I've managed small teams, I've managed large budgets and small budgets, project-based companies and non-project-based companies. I have an MBA in finance and I've worked in banking. I am a treasurer of a state party. I have been a treasurer of my own campaign. I'm qualified for the position, so we'll just throw that out there. Now let's go to what I'll actually do with the position. Originally, I had just started talking with Angela about what she wanted to do and helping her look at the budget and talking through different ideas. And I was having a lot of fun. And then when Angela and Mike kind of came to me with this idea, I thought, wow, that might make a lot of sense. And more for the fact that Angela's vision of having this long-term plan, long-range plan with different goals and objectives that we could then budget towards really resonated with me, because that's how we do it in business. We lay out the objectives. We then come up with the plan to drive those objectives 5 years out. Even if you're sure that there will be turnover in the next 2 years, you still manage a 5-year out plan. And those were all the things she was saying. So I was really excited about that. Over the last 6 months, specifically over the last 4 or 5 months, maybe, it's become clear that there's actually financial mismanagement in the party that needs to be dealt with. And so now it's even more important to do what we're doing and to bring this CFO approach rather than the accountant approach, which is what I constantly preach. The CFO approach looks at numbers and analyzes them rather than reports them. Instead of just consolidating them, they come up with recommendations. Instead of just putting out a budget, they put out a budget and show how those specific budget line items are going to attack our goals and what it's going to do going into next year and the year after and the year after. So strategy and implementation is what I'm going to bring to the table.
Todd, I don't know if you saw in the private chat, but do I have your permission to make a joke in the chat to at your expense to drive a donation?
Hey, anytime.
Okay, cool. All right, continue, guys.
Yeah, so I think on that note too, one thing that I've really enjoyed out of talks with this new LNC slate is concrete ideas like that. Like, instead of hearing continually like we have, like, we need to operate, we need to the infighting or the we need to do this and that better generally. We actually have concrete ideas. Like, and that's kind of what drives me, because I want objectives. And I think most people do too. I think one of the biggest things in the party I've seen is it's really hard to get people engaged because they don't know what they can offer, because we literally don't have any objectives for anybody. Like, I mean, the most action that a lot of people see is emails from the Libertarian Party, but they're general. They fundraise, but we don't actually, a lot of people don't know how to get involved. Everybody they have a ton of skills, but nobody knows how to add those. And so that's one thing that I'd really like us to see do. And I've actually seen a lot of people discussing ideas for that. So I appreciate that looking forward. Like if we can have goals 6 months out that are actually concrete, I think that'll bring a lot more to the table in the trust that everyone can have for us.
And there it is. And it gets pulled up. There's a $75 donation across $25,000. I don't know if it was given to Todd's death metal voice or not, but in spirit it was. So let's drill into that. What are some of the specific goals? Because this is one of the big things that people, we are on the inside where people don't realize the level of communication that we have with each other and how often our people are in touch with each other on pretty much a constant basis. And, inside what Linnea was just saying, yeah, we know that we've got concrete goals and what that looks like and what we want to do. There's a lot of people who are outside, though, who are like, well, you're going to take over and then what? Well, then what?
Well, we're going to, go ahead.
No. Okay. Well, there's tons we could add on to, but just to, bring to light something that I mentioned earlier is that, like, getting people involved, it starts with your county party. And one big thing I noticed as being an at-large is, like, no one knows how to run a county party. They don't know how to start it. They don't know anything about that. So, like, my first year into my Arkansas executive committee, I wrote our first essential, like, manual, like an affiliate manual, how to run that. And we were asked by National to submit that. And now the affiliate manual that they have at National is based on mine and a few others. And so we need more of those, more things to give people directives. Like, we already have, plans to do that with candidate things. Like I said, affiliate, county manuals, things that people can look up online and they can go, okay, I know exactly how I want to operate. I know what I can give. I don't have to flounder,
I think that's probably one of the biggest things that National should be doing. It's always been a frustration point, operating local county affiliates, setting up county affiliates, and kind of not having that roadmap. Now, I know there's a little bit of a roadmap now, and there's some things, but it's still not clear as to where you're going to get it from. People don't know where to look for their resources. Hell, I bet you most people don't even know who their at-large reps are, right? Like, so I want to make it like, the one thing that I want to do is improve communication, right? Improve communication between the LNC and between the state parties and the county affiliates, right? And I think for the at-larges, that's really where the at-large comes into play, right? I think that the at-large is that communication bridge between the LNC and your local affiliates, or any member, period, right? Like, yeah, your region reps are there, but your region reps are really working with your state chairs. So if it's just your general members or somebody who just needs a little bit of guidance and wants to pick up the phone and call somebody, or they want to send out an email, like, I want them to know, like, hey, you got me, you got Rich, you got Stephen, Nikayla, like, there's a slew of us that are willing to step up and actually do things for you, work with you, talk to you, and help you figure out where the resources are and what you need to do. And for the at-large rep, that's the most important thing, right? And then just be a good, strong face of the party, right? Like I feel like our at-large reps almost hide, so to speak, outside of Josh, right? Like, which at-large rep is trying to be a public face for the party? And I think that's kind of the role of the at-large rep, is be a public face for the party and be somebody that people know they can come to you if they need something from you, be it media, membership, whatever it may be. Like, that needs to be the position. And it's just not happening in the at-large position. They're just hanging out in the emails.
One of the things that I really like about the at-large position is it's really undefined what the role of an at-large rep is. and I think what that allows people to do is maximize their strengths and play to their strengths. And you know, that's really important because that's where people thrive. And yeah, I think that's a really important role of that. But Todd, what are some of the concrete goals? And, you know, I know you said you're down to talk about the line of credit. Maybe that lines into it and some of the off vision that you plan to change.
Sure. So most of my goals are surrounding answering a few key questions that most members or prospective members have. And when you're talking to folks online who haven't been members or who won't be members anymore because of XYZ, the most common thing that you're going to hear is, where does my money go? And they're wasting it on this or that or this. Everyone seems to be an expert on what the party is spending their money on, but most of the time they're not right. And the party will defend itself by saying, well, everything's public, the budget's out there, this and that. But when you dig into the budget, what you find is that 40 to 50% of the budget is not very easy to tell what that money is being spent on. And the audit has even called this out over and over again, that our party has done a terrible job at putting specific amounts of expense to the different projects so that that gap principles are followed and people can actually tell how we're spending our money. So one of the things that I'm going to pledge to do is make it much more transparent. Your $24 annual membership gets you $18 of this and $6 of that and $4 of this. You know what I mean? So you know what percentage of your membership is going towards affiliate development, and you know what percentage of your membership is going towards fundraising, so we can do more things and things such as that. So that's one thing. The second thing we need to get better at is budgeting in general, so that we don't run into things like we've had this year, where we've had cash crunches, emergency credit raises, and things like that. Right now, they budget, let's say they're going to do $1.8 million of revenue, and there's 12 months. They budget $150,000 of revenue a month. Okay, it's called straight line budgeting. No business in the world that is of any size uses straight line budgeting, unless you basically sell Kleenex or toilet paper, something that's used no matter what the economy and what is going on in the world. Okay, there's seasonality and cyclicality to every business. And so when we come at the LNC and say you're missing budget, they'll say things like, well, the first quarter is always slow. All right, that's why you budget it that way. If the first quarter is always slow and that's the cycle, then you budget it that way. And then you don't all of a sudden have this expense that you need. So you don't approve an extra $50,000 of expenses when you know the first quarter is going to be slow, and then you have a cash flow crunch. And then you definitely don't have a midnight vote to try and do a home equity credit line, you know, in the middle of the night to try and get this all taken care of and spend an extra $85K that's not needed for the predetermined expenses. So those are the kinds of things that once you are more transparent and budget accordingly and actually look at cash flow, you can avoid going forward.
I think I speak for a lot of members when I say I really hope that my membership dollars are going to a 4-print newspaper that has all of the trappings and nostalgia of 1994 when I was watching Rugrats. You know, that's what I want. Todd, you sound pretty unqualified, Todd.
That brings up like a really good point, Mike. I love the way you did it, but let's kind of modernize things a little bit. Let's actually appeal to younger people. I kind of feel like this is silly.
I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sorry. I got to cut you off. Todd's mug is bigger than his fucking head. That's crazy. That needs a donation. Todd's gargantuan mug. Sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
Nah, that's great. No, I just think, and that's the other thing. Like, everybody is so bent on like appealing to the older, already established people. Like, all right, it's about getting voters to vote for us, right? That's what everyone's going to tell us. We need to win votes, right? All right, cool. How about this? I don't want to win the votes of the people who've already made up their minds, and I'm tired of appealing to those people. I want to appeal to the people who are pissed off, angry, and disingenuous and disenfranchised from the system that are looking for somebody else. I don't want to look for the people that are looking for the new Democrat Party, and I don't want the people that are looking for the new Republican Party. I want the pissed off, angry people who want to flip the chessboard, not get a seat at the table. But we're, by not appealing to those people, which is what the LNC just doesn't do and what the messaging doesn't do at all, we're just leaving 60% of the voting population to just flounder on their own and letting them know, hey, we don't care about you either, where we could be focusing on them, increasing vote totals and winning that way. I don't think we need to appeal to Republicans or Democrats. Let's appeal to people who actually think like us.
I think it's a great point. If you look at maybe the last 3 times that we've tried to raise money as a party or as a caucus, right? The ones I can think of are the mandate ad, this money bomb, and then there was recently a ballot access drive, right? Which didn't get as much play. But the ballot access drive basically marketed towards today's Libertarian Party, right? Those are the people who have donated for years. They understand ballot access. They were the ones that were donating to this ballot access drive, and I think they raised in the neighborhood of 10,000. I don't know where it ended up. It was at like 9 a day or 2 before the end. The mandate ad, which went after current libertarians, but also people who were pissed that the Libertarian Party had not messaged appropriately during this entire lockdown period, was able to raise $30,000. And now this, which is all about changing leadership for the Libertarian and getting more people involved and new people involved, is raising $30,000. The amount of libertarians that are outside the party versus the amount of libertarians that are inside the party is gigantic. And those are the people that we need, the small L libertarians who haven't wanted to be involved because they haven't gotten passionate about it, but need to see some new life in the party. That's what we need to be going after. And I think that's what we're doing in Reno.
That's exactly. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good. To speak to those kind of things, like the legacy media and the legacy things that we're doing in the party, like, I mean, for instance, that like the newsletter, I mean, it's like the antithesis of fundraising. Like it comes out, quarterly or what we like. If we had regular online newsletters, things would be timely. You could, people care more about things when they happen last week than we do 3-4 months ago. So, I mean, all of those things, it would be really nice to tackle and I hate to say throw out, but, utilize differently so then they actually serve us better in the future.
Real quick, just want to interject. Laney just hit us with $777, bringing us up to $25,879. We are now maybe $1,800 away from raising $10,000 on the night. I guess I'll just lead that into a comment of what you guys are talking about with the party's fundraising. It's crazy because basically they've done what I've been doing up to this point, and they just, here's my cause, please give me money. And I understand that that's like surface level, but you can tell there's not a marketing professional, because look at what happened now that we have a marketing professional, running this and pushing this forward. And there's a lot more innovative ways to raise money. And that, our candidates that need the ballot X support deserve that expertise and that professionalism in order to, get results like this in this kind of time. So thank you, Laney. And, looking forward to bringing up these professionals.
And that brings up a good point, right? Like our messaging, right? Because that's just me, right? Like that's what I care about. That's like our social media messaging, whether it's the newsletter or whatever. Like you don't need a newsletter because you've got social media, right? Like the newsletter is dead, right? Like we don't need that anymore. We could utilize the tools in social media to be able to get out all those same ideas and all those same messages in a way that people actually care, that they're going to pay attention to, and you're actually going to grab their attention. I can't tell you the last time I've actually read a newsletter that came to my house, but I can tell you how many times I've watched a 30-second or 45-second video, right? But we don't utilize the technology. We're not using those things. And I know that's part of the plan on what we want to do as an LNC moving forward, is to get those technologies to be utilized in a much more efficient manner than they're being used now. So if you guys want to make sure that we can do that, though, the problem is we haven't really hit that $10,000 mark for the day yet. So if somebody else wants to throw in some more change, you should probably do it right now. Because if you want that hardcore messaging, we just kick up another $500 just there, $400.
$300 from Todd here. Actually, I didn't even see him move to hit the buttons. It was pretty nuts. And that put us over $26,000. Todd's given us his money. He's given us his Twitter. This dude is dedicated, man. Thank you.
Listen, I'd love to see this thing hit 27,000 in the next 6 minutes so that we can at least say we did a good job here on this video. But I don't know. I don't think any of you have it in you, right? Like you gotta, somebody's got to hit the button. Let's get 5 people put in $150 each, and let's get us up around that $27,000 number so that we can tell Dave that we set it up for him nice and easy. We put the ball right on the tee for him to get to 30, right? We don't want him to think he actually did it, right? Like, because Dave, who's Dave? Like, what? He's nothing, right? Like, he's a nobody. Just some guy who goes on Fox News once in a while.
I'll remind everybody that Scott Horton gave 777, and then heavyweight Stephen Kinsella gave $500. So, we'll see what Dave does.
Well, listen, Laney, what's going to be the biggest challenge for you getting elected in Region 7? What do these guys need to know about supporting you? Because I know, delegate wise, that's like, I think that's one of our toughest areas, isn't it?
Yeah. So, the good thing about
don't tell them demographic data, dummy.
No, I'm just saying, like, I just know certain people in that area, and I know. No harm, no foul, right? I gotta feel that's a part of the country where we got a lot of haters.
The good thing about it is, I've built up a pretty good rapport over the years, in general, just doing the party work, Aaron Adams and I have worked together great in the past. She spoke good words toward me whenever I was in Oklahoma. The majority of probably Louisiana and Texas is just me going to build relationships with them. We actually have a pretty great region. For all that anyone says, we work together well. Leadership's been pretty good as far as relationships go. So I'm not really that worried about it. I'm just going to go on merits that I've built. I'm going to, try to garner the respect and trust, and I think we'll be fine.
How about this? What are the states in your region so these guys know what friends they need to hit to tell to vote for you?
So it's actually a little weird because I don't know what's confirmed, but at the convention, it's going to be changing. I may be losing like 2 states. So confirmed, right now we've got Louisiana. I think Alabama is leaving, to my knowledge. And then Mississippi kind of was never a part of our region. So that's even though they're in our area. So then Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So
Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So if you got friends in any of those states and they're going to be delegates, just start telling them about Linnea so that she can get the votes that she needs to be in Region 7.
And Linnea has nobody running against her, and she also has the support of the current LNC Region 7 representative. So
make sure everybody knows in those states. At large is one thing, treasurer is another thing, right? We get the whole pool of people voting for us. But specifically, when we have our region reps on these things, we want to make sure that you guys are focusing on where they actually are and which one of your friends need to support them. So just make sure that message is out there, because most importantly, they need to be there the day of the vote, right? Like they got to show up for their region caucus. So make sure they're showing up for their regional caucuses and they're doing what they have to do if they're going to Reno.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we have just a few minutes left here. Do any you guys all want to give kind of final statements, parting words?
Yeah,
listen, go for it.
There you go. Yeah.
No, but I just I do appreciate this is really cool to me because the caucus is actually what drew me into the party. I mean, I knew it existed, but like the sheer endurance that we've had, that's very impressive. Like if that's not anything to ride off of, I don't know what is. Like to be able to just have a few people at the beginning, like Mike, and then you this through no matter how hard that it's been, that's very impressive. And I can only imagine what that's going to do in the future. So, support us, and that's what we're going to do is carry the baton. So
I say Chad Lemoyne just gave, glad to have you here, Chad. Hotep and Build, thank you. And then Linnea, am I saying it wrong? Is that what that last donation was trying to say? Is it Linnea? I've been doing this for probably a year and a half now, and you never said anything.
No, so it's, most of the time I'll try to correct, but it's Linnea. But
Linnea, oops.
We're in front of like thousands of people right now.
Could have told us.
There it is.
Jesus.
Hey, listen, I'm not blushing. It's 100 degrees in my house, and my wife refuses to turn down the AC. It's the one flaw of moving to Florida is that it's hot as hell. And my wife won't let me put the AC below 76 because she's Filipino, and it's got to be like tropical in the house all the time. So I'm doing my best with the ceiling fan here, guys. All right? I'm trying, okay?
Any parting words, Todd, the unqualified expert on finance?
I would just say, just in general, I think as you've seen throughout the night tonight and seen throughout the interviews over the last few weeks, this is a serious list of candidates, a serious slate that Michael has put together. We all have specific strengths for the position that we're running on. We've built networks. We're ready to go. We're ready to work together as a team. We're ready to work with the hidden, that aren't on the slate. This is going to be a caucus, a slate that gets stuff done throughout the next 2 years, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Thank you, guys. And one other thing I hope people see is kind of, between this stream that we just had and like the one earlier with the other LNC candidates, and even just with, Rechtenwald and Scott, is that people can see the camaraderie. And I think there's something that we, the Mises Caucus, have that the Libertarian Party has not had for quite some time, that the Ron Paul revolution had. And that really is a culture and a community of people who are driven together. And that's the thing that bonds us and drives us forward. And that is what it's going to take if libertarianism and the LP is going to succeed. It's kind of been really something that I've realized in the past year or so, watching this unfold this way, is that, whether it's the LP, whether it's the GOP, whether it's the agorist strategy, or whatever the hell it's going to be, nothing is going to work without a community of people that actually give a shit about each other and enjoy working together, and music. But without those things, like, nothing is going to work. And we have that, and it's really valuable. So again, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun. Glad you guys could do it. Let's keep raising the money, though, guys.